Hello and welcome back to the Blackburn End Podcast. We have behind enemy lines content once again to find out about this weekend's opposition. As you will see, I'm not on my own. I will let you introduce yourself and tell our listeners where we can find you, hopefully to be very kind and have a genuine football conversation.
Hi, Mark. My name's Callum Alston. I host a podcast called From the Valley Floyd. You can see from my username. You can find me on YouTube and X. Talk all things Charlton, probably too much. But yeah, if you want to find out about Charlton, it's a place you can go and hear some hopefully reasonable commentary.
Yeah. To be fair, our listeners are generally extremely respectful towards opposition. So just a quick preview, really. So in terms of so far this season, obviously you have a manager we know lots about, but how's the season going for you? How's it gone in terms of what you expected and then your hopes for the season now you've seen a few games in?
It's a strange one. If somebody had offered me 8 points from our first six, which looked quite tricky on paper, I would have snapped your hand off. We've got 8 points from six, and I feel disappointed. We easily should have another 4 points on the board. We should have beaten Millwall, which is a long-running pain point for us. Went down to 10 men, really stupid tackle from maybe one of our best players. They scored in the 86th minute or something, and that was painful. And then Leicester, who we absolutely battered for 90 minutes, scored a wonder goal. We couldn't score. We did score a goal from a corner. The referee chalked it off. The next week, Nathan Jones was out saying, "Yeah, the EFL have told us it should have been a goal." And then we played QPR. We lost there, and we lost deservedly. Don't get me wrong. But the player that set up the goal that was that ended up being the winner for them should have had a second yellow about 5 minutes before. So it's been one of those sorts of seasons. I'm delighted to be sat in 11th, even 5 games in. And I think that for me, I came in very, very worried about will we go straight back down. I'm feeling less stressed about that, having seen the performance levels we put in rather than necessarily the results that we've picked up.
Mm-hmm. So in terms of your pre-season transfers and things, it looks from the outside that you've made quite a few transfers. Obviously, you've brought one of our own in Joe Rankin-Costello as well, so we'll touch on him in a second. But in terms of the transfers, is this pretty much the same way that Nathan Jones usually plays? Is it a big departure from what we're expecting of a Nathan Jones team?
If you think Nathan Jones is 3-2 or 3 ends up being a 5-3, 5-3-2, when we're sort of out of possession, lots of athletes, surprisingly high press for a manager that doesn't always sound like he's going to be, some pace, defensively solid as anything, then yeah, it's a Nathan Jones team. It looks a lot like his Luton sides of old. We don't concede many goals. We don't concede many chances, to be honest with you. We're very good at home. So yeah, I mean, there's not a massive departure in terms of transfers for us. If you know anything about Charlton's recent history with awful ownership, in 2024, we were bought by 23, wasn't it? Actually, we were bought by a consortium of Americans and a couple of guys from Malaysia, I think, no longer owners, headed by Charlie Methven, formerly of Sunderland, and Andy Scott, who's the former technical director at Forest. Back in that was a bunch of American billionaires. Suffice to say, Andy Scott and Charlie Methven are no longer at the football club. And we are now fully basically owned by two American private investment billionaires who spent £12 million net in the summer. Now, we came up with a plus we were going to be behind, but I think we're something like the 7th highest net spenders in the championship this summer, which is for us is absolutely crazy. And it's the first time I've ever heard a Charlton manager at the end of the summer turn to a camera and go, "That was all right, wasn't it? It was a good summer." Normally they're going, "Why do I not have a left back? Why am I missing?" We've got depth in places. We've had to rotate the squad, and the players that have come in have looked good. It's just a question of if that front line starts firing, I think we'll end up reasonably comfortably lower half to mid table, I think.
And in terms of Joe Rankin-Costello, I think Rovers fans are keeping an eye out for him. He seems to be an unused sub an awful lot. He's obviously found himself playing for us. He started on the left wing, right wing, centre midfield, right back. Where do you think you guys see him as, and is there any hope for him, or is he going to be an unused sub for the majority of the season?
So Nathan Jones has been playing him as a 6 when he's played. The
Okay.
issue for Joe is that Connor Coventry is playing in there and has taken to the Championship like a duck has to water, and been one of our best performers. It's not a massive shock. He's a former West Ham Academy kid. He's got a Conference League winners medal and actually played in those games against European password names. But he is... but that's been the real problem for him, is that our captain is sort of our 8 at the moment, and Coventry is the 6. And it's just, how does he get in? At right back, we've got now Kane Ramsey, who is, again, former Southampton youngster, was a level above at League One level, looks okay at Championship level, looks fine. And now we've got James Bree, who was formerly at Southampton and Luton, what a surprise, but actually is a very good player at this level. And now we've got, and so you look at it and you go, why has he come in? Nathan Jones is a thing where if he plays you in a cup game, he expects you to perform, even if he's sort of been the competition off. We went up to Cambridge, and he basically played a bunch of academy kids, Harvey Nibbs, who we signed, Costello, Macaulay Gillespie's our former centre-back, and then Oluwafe scored at Sheffield United on the weekend. Everybody on the pitch that night was terrible, maybe minus Gillespie. Oluwafe's been seen for about 15 minutes since and scored the goal, so will now probably become involved. Harvey Nibbs was getting up to speed, and I think he sort of forgave him for it. Nobody else has been seen.
Right.
So, and that's what Nathan Jones is like, right? If he gives you an opportunity, he expects you to take it. Joe didn't look particularly good in that game. Nobody did, but I think part of it was, I think he probably looked around, looked at the kids and went, really, I'm playing here on a Tuesday night in the Carabao Cup. We didn't have a single senior player on the bench other than the goalkeeper. So I can understand it, but I think Joe sort of found out that you're playing for a manager. It's like you're going to have to perform. You know, Coventry will need spelling at some point. He can't do what he did in League One and play 54 games or something. But he's a player that I like. I like the signing of. I don't think the money was crazy. I think it was a good player, and for a player that can come on and play 6, 8 right back, I think there's a lot of value there. But I think that us signing Bree at right wing back, I think when you're a midfielder, proved to me that you can play here every week. And I just think dealing with Coventry at the moment is so difficult for him.
Yeah, that's fair. So in terms of the game itself, just before we come to elements for supporters travelling down, in terms of the game itself, have you got a prediction now? Do you think the game's going to go? Is there a way you think in terms of the game, the setup? What's your thoughts?
On our pod, we compared, I think, the two managers, well worth having a look at, and actually how similar they are, I think, in many ways, in terms of setup. I think that it's going to be a Nathan Jones game. It's going to be hard for either team really to create too much, and we're going to try and win it on moments. We're very, very good at home. We lost to Leicester on a wonder goal, as I say, in a game that we easily should have won. But before that, we hadn't lost since December at the Valley. It's going to be busy. There'll be 23,000 of us there, 21,000, maybe 22. It's going to be loud. I think that looking at this list of games coming before the international break, this was the one that I probably went, we probably should win that. And I don't mean that not disrespectfully. I think Blackburn
No.
side, but at home, I think these are the sorts of games, if you're going to stay up, you're going to have to get something from. The win at Sheffield United took a little bit of the pressure off because none of us, I think, predicted anything other than to go there and get battered. So I'm going to go Charlton 1-0 because it's the Nathan Jones score of choice. But it wouldn't surprise me if it just ends up being a really closely run thing. If not maybe not dissimilar to a game away at Watford, which I know you won. But that sort of style.
Yeah. So in terms of playing Blackburn, have you any memories, anything that springs to mind?
Last time we were in the Championship, first game of the season, went up to Ewood Park and won. I think we all thought on that day, we're going to be absolutely fine. We were not absolutely fine. It turns out you do need money to stay. And that has changed. But yeah, that's one that sticks. I'm sure there's a couple of Premier League ones from when I was younger as well that will stick in the mind. I don't think either side. I think we're both. I don't mean to be disrespectful to you. I think for us, we're a Championship side, right? We're a Championship club who should be trying to progress further. You guys obviously have a Premier League winners medal. trophy, whatever you want to call it. There's no argument you're a Premier League side, but you have been down here for far too long.
Wow.
Far too long.
I think was it Lyle Taylor that played then? I think he might have scored a penalty.
Yeah, he's an absolute snake to us.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I'm changing the
subject.
Then. Yeah, Brad Friedel scoring as a goalkeeper.
There you go. I knew that was coming. I tried to avoid that.
No. But then Rovers being Rovers, you went up the other end and scored in after.
Yeah.
10 seconds
I didn't
later.
I didn't want to press. I didn't want to press on
That's okay. Just in terms of around the ground, then. So, any Rovers fans travelling down, is there anything that you would point them in the direction of? Anything you'd point them in the direction away from?
Yep. So, Southeast London. So, if you want, I know the away pub now is the Anti-Gallican, which is a great pub. If you're in there, and they do have a shots challenge, I think this was quite easily won. A couple of years ago, last time I was in there, I think it was Derby who won it, and they won it at an absolute canter. But they have a shot challenge, so if you want, so you can partake in that. Obviously, Greenwich is just down the road, about 15-20 minute walk. Well worth some time there if you've got time. If you get there early, the Cutty Sark's worth going to. You can go by the river. There's lots of pubs that let in home and away. We're a pretty nice bunch, we're not like our southeast neighbours. You can come and say hello to us. We'll treat you all right. And then after the game, if there is time, unfortunately, the famous fish and chip shop is long gone. But if you want, I don't know if they let away fans in. If you want a breakfast, there's the Valley Cafe opposite, which is quite famous for us. If you want a brekkie, but yeah, I mean, there's Charlton Kebab there, which is all right. But again, I don't know if that's home fans only afterwards. But the Anti-Gallican's going to be where you guys will probably be told to go to. In terms of it, there's a big Sainsbury's, a big shopping area there. So if people need refreshments or whatever it is, and the only thing to say is the away end at the Valley is absolutely terrible. I'm pretty sure it's intentional. It's hard to get served on the home end when it's busy. So if you want to get a beer, half an hour.
Nice.
Give yourself time. As a warning, and also Watford fans had the toilets flooded last time they were down, which isn't a thing. I think they've said that they fixed that particular problem. But
nice.
But yeah, I mean, it's a day out in London, right? You come down from London Bridge if you're not in the local area, have a couple of beers. We're a nice lot. Enjoy a day out in the capital. Hopefully not too much when we beat you at 5 o'clock.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to swerve the obvious flooding jokes right now, but Callum, thank you very much. Will you just remind everyone where they can find you and they can come and look at your reaction and things to the game?
Yeah, of course. From the Valley Floyd, so just on the name tag there, if you're watching, if you could, from the Valley Floyd podcast, if you put that in, you'll be led to me. I'm also on Twitter if you want to see me, X, whatever it is, if you want to see me, probably quite annoyed after the game. But yeah.
Great stuff. Thank you for that, Cal. All right. And everyone else, remember to like, subscribe, do all the good stuff. And myself and Mike will be back on Monday next week with the latest podcast reviewing the game.